Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Travelers Season 1, Episode 6. It's called Helios 685, full spoilers for the episode. And this really felt like a big, if this was split in two, if they were airing this over two halves, this would have felt like a mid-season finale.
Yeah, you could argue almost this could have been two separate seasons at this point. Like, this felt like this could have ended a season
Yeah,
comfortably.
because it felt like it kind of culminated everything that the show's been about to an extent up until this point. And it was
Yeah,
a big actiony sort of set piecey episode where we had them breaking back into the sort of the power plant lab area.
yeah,
Because it turns out Helios, which I did remember them mentioning last episode as well,
mm.
is an asteroid that's going to hit the Earth in 18 months, and that was like maybe the start of all the troubles that led to what their future is. So we got a lot more mythology in this episode.
yeah.
A lot of great sequences, a lot of good little character beats, which we'll get into. First thing I'm going to bring up though is one negative.
Okay,
I think this is the first one where I kind of felt the budget. I felt like
okay.
these shootout sequences were, I don't know, intentionally basic.
See, I agree that they were basic, but I thought the direction on it was quite strong.
I thought it was reasonably good. I think there was a couple of moments though where I kind of felt like if you had more time, you'd probably do some extra things here. You
Mm.
know, you'd probably do this and that and whatever. The one moment that felt particularly weird to me is the slow motion moment when Gleason sort of steps out and he's like testing the
Yeah,
gunfire. Something about that felt kind of off, just from a pacing point of view.
yeah. It was the rest of it that kind of I liked. It felt, like you say, it didn't feel expensive, but it felt like they were managing with what they had quite well.
And when I say pacing, I don't mean like when usually talk about pacing, we talk about the pacing of an episode and how it feels moving. I mean the pacing of the shots felt
Yeah,
off, kind of thing. Just to clarify what I meant by that. Uh,
yeah. It was almost like they didn't do the slow motion long enough.
mm,
Because he kind of steps out, it goes really briefly, and then he goes back in, and then it does it again, and it's like longer moment might have worked better.
yeah, but that would be the one complaint. I actually really like that it starts with a drinking the Kool-Aid suicide pact style thing with
Yeah,
all these old people, and then every single one of them has a traveller like enter them, and they're
yeah.
like, oh, that's a record. Like, how many of
I
us
was
is
I was a
that?
little bit disappointed that there wasn't any misfires. I'd have loved to see one of them just drinking and then,
Just drop
or
dead.
just
Yeah.
stop and then going, hang on, what's going on?
Yeah, why is no one else drinking? What's going on?
Yeah, like thinking it's all been a big practical joke on them or something.
You really believed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously, the big mythology stuff we get from is a character called Blue, who's a separate old woman who has a traveller go into her. She's about to commit suicide. And I say suicide, euthanasia. She's dying of cancer and
yeah,
she's making the choice to go on her own terms. And she has, the engineer, they keep referring to her as,
yeah,
also want to be called Blue. And we learn that the device, because we've heard a few times about like some of the tasks the groups get are to build a device. Like you have to build this, you have to build that, and they never actually explained what any of these devices were. But now we get that it was all smaller parts of this
yeah.
main big thing, which they are using to channel the antimatter from the explosion that they're going to set off into a X-ray beam, which is very sci-fi, by the way.
It's an X-ray laser.
X-ray laser, yes, that was the exact phrase.
Yeah,
Which they're going to use to knock the asteroid just slightly off course so that it'll just miss the Earth come 18 months. And first of all, lovably over the top, and I kind of appreciate that.
me too.
I'm all for it. But there's a lot of good little things in there, just from the way she spoke to them. That you got. One, we know that people's life expectancy is a lot longer, despite everything that's been on.
Yeah, because it was something that I didn't want to bother with mentioning it before. You know when they said Trevor was older than all of them put together, and you were like, yeah, like they must have been a figure of speech, like 85.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like a figure of speech, yeah.
But no, I think they meant literally, like
Yeah.
older than all of them put together.
Yeah, which is interesting. And when I say life expectancy is longer, I realise it might not be a natural thing. It could be they have a way of prolonging it in some way.
Yeah, because obviously he says that she's been like this for 100 years, and it's like, well,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Obviously, he's referring to her mood, but obviously, if she's been like that for 100 years, then that means that's not all of her life, though. So, like, how long was she
yeah,
around
exactly.
before the 100 years? Exactly, And she also mentions that she's like part of the core team that works with the director, and she's like. But the other things that she brings up that I really liked was yeah, you guys are all famous in the future now because of what you've done. Like, things have
Yeah,
already changed for her perspective.
yeah,
It's like, it's not actually for the good, admittedly, and she brings that up.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, all these ideas that are coming with this because this is someone who's higher up in the rankings and, you're famous in the future. And it brings up a lot of ideas. Now, they set up the idea that technically they should be there to also die in this explosion when they're sent off, but she commands them. And I almost think it's Blue does this out of like she wants them to live. She wants them to still be around to do more things if the
mm,
possibility is there. But she uses the reason, oh, take Delaney away because she could do more good. She could do more important stuff, and they drive her out, and that's how they survive. But they do bring up the idea that technically, if they succeed, they might not exist anymore because
yeah,
their parents or their grandparents or their great grand
yeah.
whoever might not meet each other because
Yeah, because we
timelines have
got
changed.
their oath at the start of the episode where they all recite it together, and I think the line is so that we might not exist or something.
Yeah. There was something in there like that, and that's an interesting idea in of itself. So it sets up all these different things. Now, of course, we know that's not going to happen because it's only 6 episodes into. It's like halfway through season one. If we're going
Yeah,
to do something big like that, it's going to be a little bit further down the line. Although I almost wondered, like, do they know for sure that'll happen, kind of thing? Like, what if it works, but because they're in bodies that did exist back in the past, they just stay around?
I'm also inclined to think that may be the case for the reason that they're changing things, right? But the engineer has experienced the changes, but they've changed it. So even if things do change, maybe because they're there, it's just fine. Like they
Yeah,
just stay where they are.
they've become anomalies because otherwise the changes would kind of affect why they go back, and it would be this loop kind of
Yeah,
thing.
because they would be fixing things that never needed to be fixed.
Yeah. So yeah, that kind of stands to reason, which might be why at the end of the episode they are still around, or maybe it didn't work, or whatever. I'm inclined to think it did work. Maybe there'll be new problems to do because now something worse happens in the future. But
Yeah, I think that's likely.
the reason why I think it's worked though, more than not worked, is because well, they said it's going to hit in 18 months, which would be end of season 2, middle of season 3. If we keep getting seasons,
Mm,
it wouldn't be that far away. We'd have to deal with an asteroid hitting Earth.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's up to the showrunners to decide how long passes in a season, between seasons, and that kind of thing. But if it was roughly going to stick to real life, like timescale, which a lot of shows do,
Especially network shows.
especially network shows, then it would be around that time, wouldn't it? Like,
Yeah, and that said, I think it's maybe they stop the asteroid, but everything still goes wrong anyway for other
other
reasons.
reasons, yeah.
You know, maybe just stuff happens.
Which brings in other themes, other ideas like fate and course correction, and does the universe need this to happen? Does it want it to happen? If it has a want, that kind of
Yeah,
thing that you always bring up in time travel. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. And of course, all of the other stuff takes a back seat in this episode. There's no side characters from anyone. Everything, it's on the mission, it's focused. Yeah, it feels big, it feels kind of epic because we have all these old new people coming in, and we know they're back up, and they're,
I love all these snarky old people.
oh yeah, I was having some fun when he's like, oh, we got to see a dog. It was a bear, you idiot.
I just love the idea that they stopped the bus to take a picture with just like maybe it was a dog, maybe it was a bear. I don't know, but the idea that they just stopped the whole bus to take
I
a
think it's
picture.
even.
Either way.
I think it's funnier if it's a bear because it's like they didn't know how dangerous that was to stop and take a picture with a
It
bear.
is funnier, but it's also funny if it's a dog. It's like there's this whole bus full of people stopping just to take a picture with a dog.
They're both crazy, but the
They
bear's
are.
funnier because it's like them not like, oh yes, get a picture with this bear. Come on, bear.
Yeah,
Let's do this. Don't maul
yeah,
me now. Don't play nice. But no, that was a lot of good fun. So there was a lot of little tidbits like that. We did get some character stuff though. Marcy calling David and caring about the fact that he'll be concerned if she just disappears.
yeah.
You know.
You have Carly
So-
worried about her son.
Yeah, exactly. Which is something we've spoken about. Her feeling the need to look after the son, even though it's really not hers. But there's that
Yeah,
bond still kind of growing there. Yeah, and even McLaren leaving his wife at the start, and we don't know that he's going on this possible suicide mission, and it becomes clear later. But that was like the first hint of it at the start of the episode.
yeah. But they do address the idea of how attached they're becoming to these lives.
Yeah,
They have that conversation.
which I think is great for a TV show because it'll be a big theme for them. It'll be them like dealing with all this. Because I imagine the next episode will probably they'll probably be in the dark about
did it work? Did it
Yeah,
not? They'll
and
be like trying to continue on with their lives, maybe.
and we'll focus on their lives for a bit until they get a messenger at some point. Maybe at the end of
Yeah.
the episode or something like that. And that should be good stuff. So let's talk about Gleason and his team and what they were doing in this episode. Because obviously they set up at the start that he's investigating things, and it felt like he was a character that were setting up to be this antagonist for a while.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of glad he wasn't, because even though he was good in this episode and what it led to, I don't think he had the potential to really be that interesting for
I agree.
a long time. But no, my favourite moment in this episode, actually, because I was actually criticising it, right? So, old woman, Blue, the engineer, right? She tells him to go away, and she's there, and she's going to turn the key to turn the thing on, and Gleason and his team come running in, and they shoot her, and she's like a good few feet away from the key, and I'm like, why didn't you have your hand on it, you stupid old cow?
So
You could have turned
I
it.
got it though, because before they left, she said, "Oh, because they were arguing." It's like, "Are you sure? What if we need it here?" And she goes, "No, the director will intervene if necessary."
Yeah, but that felt more broad to me, I guess. Like, because
Right,
it was more like, anything could happen, and if something does happen, the director will deal with it.
Right.
And it was like, because it wasn't just about her either, it was also about them leaving. Like, it was about everything when she said that.
Yeah.
So it was just like, so she gets shot, and I'm like, well, why didn't you just like, and even though she knew it would be intervened, it was like, why didn't you just have your hand on the goddamn key? It wouldn't have mattered. You could have just turned it as you were falling down. Anyway.
Yeah.
But as soon as she goes down, like within a split second, the soldier who's near her starts to like spaz out. He starts getting the traveler incoming, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. This is awesome. And Gleason shoots him. Soldier number 2, traveler.
No, but see, this is when it was a problem for me. Like the first one I got, he was the closest to the key. Go straight for him. But then, why not go for Gleason? Why do they go through all the others first? When
Because
Gleason, like, would they not know Gleason's the one killing them?
why would they know that?
Don't know. Would you not just go for the commander first of the unit, because he's the one giving the orders and stopping anything that's happening? They obviously know they're there.
Oh, I've got an answer for you. Tempt his
Go on.
clip so he can't shoot himself.
Yeah, but if they just take him first,
Yeah, but how do they know the other soldiers won't shoot him?
because he's their commander. He, as soon as they take over his body, he can just go stand down. And they'll listen to him.
I don't have a problem with this. I really don't. I actually think it makes for a great moment when he tries to shoot himself and he can't.
The thing is, I like that moment, but it was really bothering me in the scene. It was like, why don't they just take him? He's the one giving the orders. He can just tell them all to just stand down and stop.
I don't think they know who's doing the shooting. Why would they know that in the future? I think it's just coincidence that he happens to be last. Either that, or it's specifically to make sure that he empties his clips so that he can't shoot himself at the end.
Well, it could be, but I don't know. It was bothering me as I was watching it.
I really didn't have I had more of a problem with her not having her hand on the key so she could just turn it.
Both of them were an issue.
But I actually really liked the scene that followed. I liked the first one that just came in, and I liked them all coming in, him realising it was going to happen to him, trying to shoot himself, and then no bullets left, clips empty, and then he does it. I thought that whole thing was great. So
The thing is, I did really like it. It was bothering me as to why they were doing it like this. It felt unnecessary, even though it was good to watch.
to mess with him,
That seems really petty.
they can be petty. Why can't they be petty?
Um,
Honestly, I think the most likely answer is honestly that it's just they didn't know who it was, and it was just random. It was like, oh, pick him, pick him, pick him.
Yeah, could well be.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. It's just if it was me, I'd go straight for the person in charge. Because they'll know who's in charge.
yeah, they would.
So I don't know. It just seemed weird not to do that to me.
I made for a good scene, so I don't care.
That's fair enough. I can't really argue with that.
It's storytelling liberties, you know what? I'll happily let that go, just so I can
Yeah, I can't really argue with that.
have the scene. Yeah, so it ends, the thing turns on, it shoots up into the sky. And they do make, their conscience is somewhat clear, because they mention that they deliberately set off some early explosions so that the area will evacuate, so that the casualties aren't that high. We see it in the news, we see Gleason see it on the news, so we know that there's been evacuations, and there shouldn't be too many casualties from it.
And they were very clear when they were infiltrating. They were knocking everyone out, but they were taking them away and getting them to a safe distance as well. By the look of it.
Yeah. Very much try to keep that. Was it Protocol 3? Alive and well. So, I like this episode a lot. Actually, it felt like a really big culmination of the first 6
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it feels like this could have been the end of a season. It would have been relatively satisfying as it was.
Yeah, but of course we still have the who kidnapped us, which I like that they brought up because there was a little joke early on about it. Or maybe she's been taken against her will. Oh, it's going around.
Yeah.
But like when they talk to Blue about it, it's like, well, you know who took us, and it's like, well, not necessarily, but I know we found you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she implies that the other ones who actually helped them find them. Because so maybe originally they did actually all die, but they knew.
They sent someone back to send. That's where the dark web
Yeah,
message came from. They sent
yeah.
someone to send the
So
message.
maybe it isn't a test, and maybe it was actually a real threat of someone.
That's seeming more plausible after this.
Yeah, yeah. But again, I like that. I like everything that was coming out of her mouth that was like new information from the future was really like dawning on me, like just how cool this concept is
Yeah.
and how it works. But it does. It definitely feels like the people who have already travelled back are kind of locked in there now.
Yeah.
Although we did get the impression that she maybe already went back before as well, but not as far. I was thinking maybe because she was like traveller number 104 or whatever it was. She was like a lot lower number.
Yeah, I think it was like 137 or something.
And I was thinking maybe that's because she didn't go. Maybe she only went back like 10 years, so she still sort of lived through it. And like,
It's just dawned on me how they have such long lifespans.
they keep going back.
They just keep going back, yeah.
Ah, yeah, yeah. That's good. That's a good point.
So it's just in a different body.
Yeah.
Like whenever someone dies of natural causes, they just go, all right, well, we'll mark that, and then we'll go back 5 years, whatever, and just keep repeating through various people for the important ones.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Just dawned on me as we were saying it there.
Yeah, that's why they've got such a long
It
lifespan.
kind of seems obvious now I've said it though, and I feel like
They never.
people are going to berate us for missing
Nah,
it.
they never specifically stated this though. This was
They
definitely.
didn't. Yeah.
This was between the lines. We had to think about that.
Yeah. But I like that idea. I hope that's what it is.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm cool with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would make sense because I don't see them having like it kind of surprised me they had such a long lifespan, given that they talk about plagues
And
and
famine,
famine.
yeah.
It's just like, well, this seems weird. You'd think life expectancy would be lower.
Nah, this makes a lot of sense. But I do also think there's a sense of not going back as far though. Like maybe they only go back a decade, so they actually get back to the time again. You know, in a
Yeah.
different body kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And it goes back, and that's yeah. That's interesting. I like that. That was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
It was a very good episode,
Couple
yeah.
of little nitpicks. But the action feeling a bit cheap with the shootout because I think the direction's been very very good with almost everything else. I think, but building up tension in a scene, simple talking, emotional stuff. It's been all very good. I think just maybe your typical action shootouts maybe where the barrier kind of was for me in terms of okay,
Yeah.
they try to hide the fact that they don't have the budget for this.
Okay, it did feel like they were trying to hide it, but at the same time, I thought they did a good job with what they did have. Like, it still looked above average for network shows on the whole.
Well, what I think it is, I think they knew how much they could show. They did that and no more, so they kept it to just that. They didn't.
Yeah.
It could have been way worse, certainly.
Yeah.
But no, a couple of pacing issues there, and you had a nitpick about the.
It really,
big
I know it's a
ending.
small and it's stupid, but it really bothered me while I was watching it. So there we go.
Yeah.
But it
That-
didn't, it was still a very good episode and it didn't bother it that much.
That's Travelers Season 1, Episode 6. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Give us thoughts and theories. Unless you've watched the rest of the season, then don't wait until we get to the finale and then tell us your thoughts and theories because you've got more information than we do, so stop it. But thanks very much, guys, and we'll see you next time.